Hey buds, welcome back to another episode of Weed Budz Radio. I'm your host, Rye, and I'm here in the studio in the North Maine woods. And for those of you watching, you can see the beautiful northern lights behind me. And here at the studio of Bud's Emporium. As you learned the last time we talked, we opened an adult use store here in the North Maine woods, and we're just having an incredible time here, and I feel very blessed to be a part of this community. And one of the things that makes not just Bud's Emporium special, but the whole region special really is the community, the North Maine Woods, Baxter State Park, Katahdin Woods and Water. There's so much beauty up here, and rafting, skydiving, camping, hiking, mountain climbing. You can do all of that here. So I definitely encourage all of you, if you have not taken a trip to Maine, specifically here in the Katahdin region, I definitely encourage you to do so. And of course, come see us at Bud's Emporium. But one of the things that I noticed in the last couple of weeks, especially as we gear up to having more tourists enter the business and enter the region, I'm looking for ways to increase tourism, to really share what we have here in the Katahdin region with the world. There's just so much beauty up here and so much that you can escape from. It really is. There's very little self-service in many of the areas here, which just makes it amazing. When I think of, how do we increase tourism? And then I hear things like Baxter State Park having a cap on the number of visitors that can go to the park every year. I'm conflicted, because I absolutely want to preserve the beauty. I also want to see a region that has been hit with extreme economic hardships to build back and to build forward. And we have to do that with a balance of embracing tourism and welcoming tourism and educating. We have to educate these campers and hikers as they come into the state about how to treat this space, right? We need to be educated when we go to other cultures and other community spaces as well. So this all got me thinking, and I was on LinkedIn, and I'm very rarely on social media these days. And while I'm having this debate in my mind about tourism and locals and what does this all mean and how do we increase one? Do we need both? I came across this article, and it was titled, "Beware of Tourists." And it hit me because, as a lot of you know, I made my start in my career with a drive-in movie theater built on tourism. So beware of tourists. And I started reading it. And then I realized the article I'm reading is a good friend of mine, and a friend that you all might remember that we went to Alabama to visit. And we ended up working on a Delta 8 project together. And some of you might remember the Rise and Grind, which was my favorite products that we created. A lot of that was in collaboration with my friend CJ, who is joining us today, who I want to really share this article with all of you and help maybe you think about what is a tourist in your life. So CJ, thank you so much for joining me on Weed Budz Radio.
Man, thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
I can't believe that this is your first appearance on Weed Budz Radio, because we met so many years ago through your brother. And
that's another podcast.
That's another podcast. And then just everything kind of continued to grow between us and working on different projects and brainstorming, number of different things late at nights. So it's been a pleasure to, one, get to know you, and an honor to be your friends. And I'm really proud of you because this piece in particular, it's inspired, and it's inspired conversations outside of this dynamic. I've shared this article with other people, and then they'll tell me that they shared it with someone else. So, I mean, this article is definitely, kind of grown into something, and it's been relevant for a lot of people's lives. So would you kind of tell us what should we be aware of, and what is a tourist?
Yeah, absolutely, man. So I'm pumped to be here. We've known each other for, I just did the math in my head, almost 3 years. It was a pre-COVID friendship, which means it's a real friendship, my friend. We need to get that as a tag on LinkedIn, pre-COVID LinkedIn connection or something. This article is inspiring because, similar to you, I live in a destination. So I live in the panhandle of Florida, between Panama City and Destin, which immediately most people think of spring break on MTV and things like that. The region I live in is called 30A. And if you're from the South, you know where it is. It's this little strip of 17-mile beach that's curated. It's all been, heavily designed in a certain way. If you've seen the Truman Show, for all of you, that was filmed in my area. And so it's kind of like a little Mayberry on the beach, which is awesome. But one of the interesting things about where I live is 2.5 million people here come down here every year. 14,000 people live here full time. So similar to you, it's a huge amount of people coming in to visit. And it's wonderful, right? The entire area really revolves around the tourist industry that comes from Dallas, Nashville, and Atlanta primarily. And what's great about it is the energy is amazing, right? I can go out tonight and it feels like somebody's birthday every time you go out. Everywhere's packed. People are happy. They've been saving up all year to come here. It's not cheap. And they're spending a couple $100 on a meal and wine. And so it's just easy to get caught up in the energy. But afterwards, all the excitement kind of fades away, and you wake up the next day and there's plastic everywhere. And, there's a car in a ditch, and, a golf cart crashed into another golf cart because some dad couldn't handle his alcohol. And so it got me thinking a lot about people who come here and enjoy the beauty, right? We have to have tourists. We just do. It's part of who we are. And it's awesome, right? We all live in America. We have beautiful landscape. But there's another thing to be said about locals. And it got me thinking a lot about the people that live here and really make it remarkable. I've made this mistake in my businesses multiple times. And it's a lesson I'm still learning. You get caught up in the excitement of people who see you for a very small sliver of who you really are, right? Coming to see the beach, going to a restaurant to eat or drink, seeing you for who you are as a hustler or a marketer, or maybe one thing you did, but they don't really know you. They don't take the time. They also don't really respect kind of what it is to be here locally and take consideration into that. And I've made a lot of partnerships with people that I would say are more tourist. And as I was thinking through this article, which has been really funny to watch it take its life on its own, and how much it's resonated with people has been incredible. But it's a good practice to evaluate the people you're doing business with on, is this person just seeing me for maybe 1-2 aspects of my life? Are they just tourists kind of coming through my life, enjoying this really specific moment and then moving out? Or is this someone who's going to stay and dig in with me? And Ryan, first of all, you, my friend, are local status in my life. So glad to have you on board for that. And it's hard, right? Like, you live in Maine, you have down months and it's quiet and places are closed. I live at the beach. Do you know what happens here in February? Nothing. It's cold. We're in the northern panhandle, so we do get cold weather. And you have to kind of hunker down and weather the good and the bad. It's the same in business. Like, who are the people that are going to be with you that are going to weather the ups and downs, not just the peaks, not just the tourist season, not just the time when it's fun to go out. There's always something going on. Who are the people that are going to sit here in February where it's 50 degrees and the wind's blowing 25 miles an hour off the beach and you can't do anything but sit inside and dig in with you? And so the article really was inspired by that. And it's been fun to share. I don't think it's that original of a thought. It's been kind of encapsulated in different ways, but I'm glad to hear it resonated with you, and hopefully it does with other people as well.
And I think it resonates in a lot of different facets. It resonates in kind of that literal facet that which you and I came from, of the natural beauty that surrounds us. And I think we both quickly equated it to some of the business dealings that we both have been a part of and both have seen and witnessed. And sometimes I was giving the example, a lot of times, like there's shooting stars and there's superstars. And superstars are often the more kind of longevity in the industry, and they're a little quieter, where the shooting stars come in very, very loud and maybe raise a fair amount of money, and then they're gone in a year or two. And there's examples of that in personal lives, right? Where maybe things are going really well in your life and you have everything that you could ever imagine around you, friends and relationships, and then maybe things are not so great and that pool is much smaller. Well, you learn really quickly like who that inner circle is. And I think that's the most important thing of all of it. And so it really does relate, whether it's business or friendships, or just saving the beaches. It's something that we can all think about. And so, CJ, I know with your business specifically, you help companies in a number of different facets. And so define a little bit like what a tourist is. What does an ideal customer look like for you and for your team to work with, along with the types of projects that you have been kind of crushing in that?
Absolutely. And it's great that you're in the cannabis space because you get this more than anyone else, especially emerging industries, right? A tourist, very similar to a shooting star, is someone just trying to find a quick buck, right? I saw it when I did some consulting in COVID. I saw it when I've worked with different cannabis businesses. You can tell who's really passionate about the actual business and industry and who's just there to make a quick buck. And so, me with Juicebox, I do consulting for a host of different businesses. We really are a marketing agency. We do a bunch of different things to help small but growing businesses really become their best. And you find out really quickly on a first call if someone's passionate, like a founder is really passionate about something, right? Because the startup space is full of people who have a little extra cash and are like, I found this niche thing, I'm going to do it. And then you have people who are almost borderline psychotic about it. And I love those people because they know it and they breathe it. I think you and I have had this exact conversation before. I don't work with a founder who doesn't try, believe, or use their own product.
Right.
Done. Like from if you're developing a construction hardware and you've never picked up a hammer in your life to running a cannabis brand and you don't enjoy cannabis, authenticity is so few and far between nowadays. And startups don't understand that is the one advantage they have over big businesses. Big businesses are not authentic. They never will be. And it's okay, right? Like it's like the tourists and the locals. There's a place for everyone. Big businesses are going to do stuff and write checks. And, we love our people, but at the end of the day, they're here to make money. Small businesses are here to make a difference because it's you and me and maybe 2 or 3 other people at most. And so the idea is, if you're really in this to make a difference, that's beautiful. And I hope you achieve all your dreams. If that's one of those that you want to grow it to a big business and you just get way larger than you can handle, awesome. We need both. But I think the problem is there's a lot of people who lie to themselves. And when you engage with them, you're the one that's going to get burned in it. I want to be a small business. I want to make a difference, when really it's just dollars in the back of your mind. And what happens is, in startup world, you get beaten down. You have to do things that may not be in your wheelhouse. You have to be a Swiss Army knife when really you just want to be the knife or the fork or something. You have to do all the things and you get burnt out and it just doesn't last. And so the only thing that keeps you going is that ultimate belief and purpose and your ability to go, I know what I'm doing. I know my why. I'm going to make a difference and I'm sticking with it.
And you should really ask yourself, would you do it if you were doing it for free? I think at this stage, and you and I both do work in other industries as well, outside of, our primary things. And especially on the media production side, is the money worth the dynamic is always the question. And something that we're always trying to figure out. And luckily, we now are in a position where kind of what you're saying, like if I wouldn't necessarily be buds with you, it doesn't mean that you're the wrong fit for maybe your own show or your own site or what have you. I will fail you because it's not the right fit, and I won't be able to see the whole vision. And I think you and I are kind of gotten to that phase, right? Where a lot of people will just say, yes, there's $1,000, yes. And then it comes with a laundry list of things that, comes with that. And, it's at this point, like, yes, obviously everybody should earn a keep in whatever their keep is. But it is kind of fun to just watch some of those dynamics over the last couple years begin to shift, and that mindset begin to shift, because if you wouldn't do it for free, the money's not necessarily going to make it fun. Might make it easier to do, to accomplish. But I think it's a lot better. I see, especially being up here in the cultivation centers, I see people trimming that enjoy trimming, that enjoy being around the plant, right? Like I personally do not like trimming, and it wouldn't be a fun activity for me. You'd have to pay me to do it. But there's people where like it's a hobby, it's very artistic, it's very therapeutic. So it's awesome to be a part and to continue to witness this develop. So CJ, what's next for you, man? What do you have shaking and baking? What are you looking for?
Man, so I've been consulting with a couple businesses. I'm from Birmingham, Alabama, originally, now living in Florida. So thankfully, I have some connections there. And then obviously the world is small because of the internet. So I have a few different clients I'm working for in healthcare, cannabis actually as well, and CPG. So beverages, snacks, things like that. Really enjoy that space a lot. And so doing some different consulting, I have a couple companies who are looking to me to be like a fractional marketing director. My big pitch is I'm always looking for the why, not the how. So, spoiler alert to everybody listening, if you need a how, I just need social media management, I just need design, Fiverr's your best friend. Never going to beat that rate. But if you need someone to take your hows and really build it into a why that's going to make someone pause, which is the hardest thing to do in the world nowadays, is to make a potential customer go, they might be onto something. That might be something I want to try. That I'm your guy. And that's what I really enjoy doing. And so you have to kind of think exceptional. You can't just think nuts and bolts. But that's really what I enjoy doing. And there's nothing that gets me more amped than talking to a founder who, gets high on their own supply, to use a cannabis analogy. I love working with people like that. I love the energy of startup founders who are just believing what they do, or small business owners. And I think that's where I really can help people grow. So that's what I've been focusing on, enjoying it. And obviously getting out in the sun with my family because it's hot.
So if I'm one of those small business owners and I know that I madly need some proper assistance in these categories, what's the best way to contact you?
My LinkedIn, you can find me on there, or juiceboxcollective.com. There's an easy contact form. It'll come straight to my phone and I'll respond very quickly.
Perfect. And of course, we will have all of those links in the show notes over at weedbudsradio.com. And we'll be sure to add the direct link to CJ's article, so you can check that out over again at weedbudsradio.com. We're so excited and so grateful to have you tuning in with us today. We'll see you in the next episode.